Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catafamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us. We are sitting down with Downwinders advocate Sherry Hanna. Welcome back to studio.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for
Sherry
having me.
told me that the last time she was here was 2014. That's 7 years ago. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's
Time
amazing.
has flown.
But Sherry reached out to me through email, news@myradioplace.com, and she said, Paul, can I come in and do another Downwinders show because it is coming to a close next year, July 2022. So I said, of course, you can come in and do a show. And anybody out there who's got a nonprofit or something they want to get out there, let me know. Send us an email, news@myradioplace.com, and maybe we can set up a show date for you to do something just like this today. Website for you is downwinders.weebly.com. Phone number for Sherry is 928-533-2925. Okay, so we'll mention those numbers further into the show as well. Can we first, with you, get just a background on Downwinders and what it means?
Thank you.
What it is.
Yes. Back in the 1950s, from 1951 to 1958, the United States government conducted above-ground nuclear testing in the Nevada desert. The fallout from the nuclear testing was carried by the winds and settled, and that's where they get the name Downwinders. The areas that are affected were downwind from the testing site. And back in 1990, the United States government passed the RECA law, which protects those people now that were a lot of cases of cancers and other series of illnesses were being shown up, and the government went in and, as an apology to the people, decided to form the RECA bill, and it is compensation for these individuals. They have to prove that they were in the areas at certain times for a certain length of time, and if they're diagnosed with one of the 19 forms of cancer that are covered under the bill, then they receive compensation. It also includes the millers, the ore miners, and the transportators, and now even they've gone back, and it includes the military that were working with the nuclear, the submarines, and all those associated with the nuclear military projects that were done back in that time.
You were telling me prior to the show that it's also trickling down to second and third generation as well?
If you were someone who was diagnosed with cancer, and if your children are not alive and the grandchildren are, they can receive compensation. You just have to prove that you're eligible for the benefits.
Okay, all right. Now, Sherry put together a really nice little video. It's about maybe a couple minutes long, about a couple minutes long. It's not going to be included with the show while we're doing it today, but we are going to try to attach it to the show after we're done with the show today, so it should be available then. Is there someplace else anybody can go to see that video you put together?
It is on YouTube.
Okay.
It is, and there are a number of downwinder sites. There are other people throughout Arizona, individuals in their areas and other states that were affected that have put together a lot of informational videos and websites that you can go and see how other people have been affected by this too.
The part that really got me, and I was born in '68, so this is prior to me, and you were telling me that people used to go have picnics when this was happening, but the above ground testing, it wasn't uncommon to be in Las Vegas on the Strip and see a mushroom cloud off in the distance of a nuclear bomb being tested out there.
And there's many photos.
It shocks me.
Yes, if you go on and explore the Downwinders, you're gonna and a lot of these photos were released recently from the U.S. government. Before, you weren't able to look at any of the evidence, and now they have been released, and you can see a number of photos that show things like that.
Okay, and just for everyone's information, when Sherry says RECA, that's the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act.
Yes.
RECA. And that comes to an end in July of 2022.
It expires.
Now, if we can talk about, you've also got a board here that shows kind of the area covered by this. There's a large chunk of Nevada, the southwest portion and the southern portion of Utah, and in Arizona we have Yavapai County, Coconino County, a portion of Mojave, all of Gila County, all of Navajo County, and Apache County.
Yes, correct.
That's a huge swath of land that we're talking about.
It is. And the Native Americans were greatly affected up in the Navajo reservation, not only because they are in the covered areas of the fallout, but a lot of the Native American men worked in the mines, mining the ore, and so they were greatly affected by that too.
Did we just not know the dangers of mining this stuff and doing what we did?
Well, I think the government was so concerned at the time because we had the arms race with Russia, and President Truman, they were just concerned about protecting the country, and they didn't understand or even know how to research the ramifications of what they were doing,
But now we know.
And unfortunately, there's been so many claims filed. It's in the billions right now just for the downwinders and the miners and the transportators of
We're talking about billions of dollars.
Billions of dollars.
Not billions of claims, but billions of dollars.
Yeah, billions of dollars have been paid out.
Okay. Now, when you reached out to me, let's get into this because I know this is probably the big part that you want to talk about is the fact that this is set to expire soon.
Yes.
So give us the rundown on that, if you will.
Okay. It's set to expire on July 10th of 2022, the RICA bill. And what the push is now is to get with our legislators. There's a group called Union of Concerned Scientists that I have joined because we want to ensure that the RICA money remains available for compensation for people that can prove that they are entitled to it. And right now, we also have the RESET program, which provides free screenings. If you're a downwinder, you can go and get free cancer screenings in Flagstaff. They're at North Country Healthcare. It's a government-funded part. You go once a year. You get a chest X-ray. You fill out an application, you are put in the system as a downwinder, and then you're allowed to go once a year for the rest of your life for free cancer screenings. And they do chest X-ray, blood work, which looks for the cancer markers, because a lot of people don't realize when you have a blood test, unless you're testing for certain markers in cancer, they're not detected. So they do a stool sample, and you're able to go once a year, and you're entitled to that screening. So it helps. You obviously, early detection is your best protection. So if something shows up, they notify you, and then it's up to you to follow up from that.
Now, you said it's 19 different
forms of cancers, yes.
19 forms of cancer. I suppose that's probably listed on.
It is.
It's on all these websites.
It is, and I have it on mine. I also have the application that you can go and look at. The application, if you want to file for compensation, is quite lengthy, and you have to provide a lot of information. But it sets it out, and right now in Yavapai County or in Prescott, Charlotte Hall Museum, they have an archives department where you can go and they have the old phone books, and you can make an appointment, and they'll certify those pages for you that you can attach to your application. There's other resources because you do have to provide information that shows that you were here as a child through your parents' school records, religious records, your parents' tax receipts, voter registration. There's a lot of resources out there that can help you provide that now that were not available years ago. And actually on the Yavapai County website, the county recorder's website, you can go there and there's a link for the Downwinders application so that you can link right to that.
Okay. Yeah, when I typed in Downwinders in Google search, there was pages that came up, tons of pages. So just be careful what you're clicking on. Let's take our first break, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Downwinders advocate Sherry Hanna is with us today. Justicefordownwinders.weebly.com is the website that'll be coming up on the screen. Phone number for Sherry is 928-533-2925. Stick around. Countywide will be back in just a couple minutes.
Who doesn't dream of home improvements? Perhaps your kitchen, the real living room. Maybe the bathroom, where you bookend your day. Langstrand Contracting is your one-stop shop from tear down to finishing touches. With 35 years of experience, Chris and his team will work with you to match your family's style and budget. Call Langstrand Contracting today for guidance in bringing your vision to life.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Welcome back to Countywide. Sherry Hanna is in studio today with she's a Downwinders advocate. The website again is justicefordownwinders.weebly.com. Weebly is Weebly, and then the phone number is 928-533-2925. So I can imagine, Sherry, when you show up and you start talking about this, and people listening and watching right now are probably thinking to themselves as well, I have a relative that may have been impacted by this. So I imagine quite a few lights come on when you walk in the door and start talking about this. Because I imagine there's all kinds of people who've died from maybe some of these cancers, these 19 that you mentioned, and had no idea.
That's correct. And actually, my father, who was a downwinder, passed away in 1983. My sister, who was the Yavapai County recorder in 1990 when this bill was passed and the information started funneling down to the states, she came across this and said, wow, our dad passed away of esophageal cancer. He was in this area during this time frame. I think we're eligible for this. So she started doing some research and let us know. There's 5 kids in our family, and we applied for the compensation and we received it. But it was just something when people hear about it and they realize if their parents passed away from cancer and it's one of the cancers that's included and they're eligible from the time frame being here in northern Arizona, then they're like, I think I'm eligible. So
I was wondering, is there concern that, okay, July 2022 is when this expires? That could be the end of it.
It could
The government could say, well, no, we've done all we can. This is as far as we're going to go, and we're not going to go any further with it. But the Downwinders actually want to see more areas encompassed in this. Like, we've got this on this chart here. It's a small little area, but your map that you have on your paper there is much larger.
Well, there's a lot of states where they mined the ore and transported the ore that were never included in the original RICA bill. So, for these other states, now that the bill is expiring, these other states are coming together and try to bring them into compensation. So hopefully there will be more areas covered and possibly an increase in compensation that's been brought up. We don't know for sure, but the bill should be coming out within the next month or so. So we're very anxious to see what it's going to have in it.
Okay. Well, let me grab this from you real quick if I can. I'm going to hold this up and hopefully John can get in on that a little bit. But you can see the Downwinders area is the area in Nevada, Utah, Arizona, just portions of it. But what also wants to be brought in is North Dakota, South Dakota, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. That's a lot more land. And to actually include all of Arizona, not just...
Well, I don't know if it's going to include all of Arizona. We will see, because we'll just have to see what the new boundaries are going to.
So how do we know? What do we do? What has to be done, Sherry, to keep the ball rolling here?
Right now, you can go on my Facebook page, Justice for and the number 4 Downwinders. You can learn about the Downwinders. Justice for Downwinders at Weebly.com is an online petition. You can go on and sign that. That will be presented to our legislatures when the new bill comes out, showing public support for extending the fund. And also if the fund covers more areas, if they feel that's, needs to be done, then that'll be support for that too.
Okay. So we need people to sign the petition.
Sign an online petition, my online petition.
Do you have a deadline when all of this has to take place?
Well, we have a year. So we're gonna go with that, and you know how things move through Congress, so it's probably going to take the full year to get things done. But we're hoping with more support on the legislators' part that will help move this bill forward faster.
So is it possible that once you get the petition filled out, because you said it was July 10th, right? July 10th is the cutoff on that, and then it could just completely go away. So obviously you want to get the petition to them before July 10th. So I guess is it possible they could postpone it and say, okay, we're going to, before we decide we're going to cancel this, we're going to go ahead and look at it some more and consider this more? Or
well, hopefully not. And that's another thing we're asking them not to let this expire, because once you let it expire, and then if you ever bring it back, there's an envelope or an open period of time where people that could apply could be denied. So we're hoping for emergency legislation that will continue it so that there is no lapse in time.
Any particular legislators in general that we're looking at?
Well, Congressman Dr. Paul Gosar has been instrumental ever since he was elected. He has supported the Downwinders, and he's put bills in place and has gotten bipartisan support, so we're grateful for that. So when we were trying to bring those other two areas that were left out of compensation, that's been the fight for many years to bring them in, and it's always been done bipartisan. So, but we're hoping that more legislators will get on board these other areas, and they will help support the bill and move it forward.
We want this done before the July deadline, though.
Yes.
We definitely, because the wheels of government are slow. So when is the actual deadline that you'd like to see your petition kind of finished up signature gathering, and then when you're going to go ahead and hand it over?
In June, because then I can with this technology now, you can just forward it on and get it to the right people, you know, and when the bill, and that'll depend too when the bill gets ready to move forward. We want to have it in that time too. So once this new bill comes out, we'll be getting a lot of more information on how we need to proceed and what we can do in a timely basis to attach this with the bill.
Okay, all right. And then you mentioned there were two areas that we've been trying to get put into the Downwinders, not mentioning all these other states that we're talking about, just these two other little areas. One is just south of where Las Vegas would be.
Yes.
The rest of Clark County. And then the rest of Mojave County?
Yes.
In Arizona?
A portion of Mojave County there.
What's the holdup on those two areas there? Why aren't they being allowed in?
Well, originally when the RICA bill was passed and the boundary lines were set by Congress, for some reason, those two portions of one portion of Clark County and portion of Mojave County were not included in the legal description. So that has been the fight for years, to try to bring them into compensation. It's never passed. It's just been something that has never, we couldn't get the votes to do it through Congress or the Senate. Many legislators have carried the bill, and it's always been bipartisan, but for whatever reason, they've never been brought into compensation. So hopefully this bill will rectify that. That will be included, and then other areas too that they want to include.
Okay, all right. So let's take our second break. Again, for the petition, go to Justice, 4, Downwinders.weebly. Weebly is WEEBLY.com. 928-533-2925 is the phone number. Downwinders advocate Sherry Hanna in studio with us today. Stick around, Countywide back in just a couple minutes. What else?
Terrifying jobs. Bull rider, take 2. Cliff, this seems like a really terrifying job. Why do you do it?
I love protecting the bull riders when they get bucked up.
How big are these bulls?
12 to 2,200 pounds of pure muscle.
You're not cowed by any of this, obviously. Is there anything that scares you?
Yeah. Distracted drivers terrify me.
Two things we can count on every year.
A new set of tax rules and great weather here in northern Arizona.
Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, locally owned and operated by Lewis Rice since 1997, is here for you all year long.
Your neighborhood Jackson Hewitt Tax Office will help you in all of your taxing situations.
Electronic filing is always free with your tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service.
Get more in return. Call 1-800-234-1040 for an office near you.
The EPA says C&B Construction ranks in the top 1% nationally. C&B Construction invites you to see what energy efficiency and indoor air quality can be. We have won another Department of Energy Innovation Award, and C&B Construction is the only contractor in the country to win 6 consecutive EPA Indoor Air Plus awards. Experience our zero-energy, move-in-ready homes at Crossroads at Mingus.
C&B Construction, locally respected, nationally recognized. Find out more at C&B Homes.com.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family-friendly, open 11:30 to 9, late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
Countywide, Anna is with us in studio today. Downwinders advocate. justicefordownwinders.weebly.com is the site you want to go to in order to sign on the petition.
Jobs,
and then some other information for you too. Phone number 928-533-2925 is the phone number you can use to get a hold of Sherry. I was just saying, okay, we've only got a few minutes left of the program. What are some of the things we definitely want to make sure we touch base on? The Facebook page, we've not mentioned it enough. It's Justice, the number 4, Downwinders. That's on Facebook. And North Country Healthcare, you said North Country Healthcare in Flagstaff?
Yes.
Is been very instrumental and helpful as well.
Yes, and they have satellite offices throughout northern Arizona. So I go for my screenings now in Williams. That's closer for me. So they offer a number of places. You can call North Country Healthcare in Flagstaff at 928-522-9400, and they can direct you to a closer satellite office for the Downwinder screening. And they also provide at the North Country Healthcare office in Flagstaff, they have an individual there who is trained in helping people fill out the application, guiding them to get the proper information that they're going to need to attach with their application when they file for compensation.
And you told me that's about a 25-page report that you have to fill out, so it can be a little bit daunting on somebody.
It is.
I would look at it and say, I don't even want to even start.
I know. It's very intimidating.
But it's important to do so.
But it is, because you have to read through everything. There's a lot of information you have to provide, because not one person in the Department of Justice makes a decision on your application. There's a group, and they all review it to make sure you have the documentation that you submit is true and correct. And then they determine if you're eligible for the compensation or not. And there's times that they'll send something back to the individual and say, we need more information on this, or we require more information on that. So it is important to read the application and try and submit everything the first time. That saves a lot of time because it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to hear from them after you submit the application.
Yeah, only to say, you don't have all of it here.
Then they got to start kind of over,
that would be pretty frustrating. So that's North Country Healthcare is what you're saying. People can reach out to them, and they've got somebody who can definitely help out with that. Okay, and then the Department of Justice is the one who reviews these applications and decides whether or not compensation actually happens.
Yes, okay. And you just go to their website. I believe it's on the back of the card there. There's a Department of Justice website that you can go to. And there's a phone number also you can call. 1-800-729-7327. 1-800-729-7327. Lots of information, but again, Justice, the number 4, Downwinders on Facebook. A lot of information right there for you. We're out of time. Phone number is 928-533-2925. You've got more questions for Sherry, you can get her there. The petition is at Justice, again, the number 4, downwinders.weebly.com. That's the petition. This all comes to an end possibly July 20 of 22, which is just a year away. And as we know, that's going to just skip by quick as can be.
And the number for North Country Healthcare, right,
Yes,
is
in Flagstaff.
522-9400, 522-9400. Sherry, thank you for reaching out to us.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Paul.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it very much. That is today's Countywide. As always, we thank you for watching and listening, and we will talk to you again next time.
As the Cold War intensified and the arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union escalated at a shocking pace, the need for more information regarding nuclear weapons became apparent. On December 18, 1950, President Harry Truman approved the nuclear proving ground, the Nevada Test Site, which was 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas, Nevada. The barren testing range carved out of the Mojave Desert would be home for the next several decades to 928 of the 1,054 above and below ground nuclear experiments conducted by the United States government. The testing finally ended in September 1992 when a moratorium went into effect. Before the moratorium, mushroom clouds were a familiar sight from the Las Vegas Strip. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy visited the Nevada Test Site. He has been the only sitting president to do so. In 1963, President Kennedy and Soviet President Nikita Khrushchev signed a treaty that required the superpowers to conduct nuclear experiments underground. This historic treaty banned nuclear testing in the air, oceans, or space. The first nuclear experiment in Nevada lit up the desert sky on January 27, 1951. The radioactive fallout blanketed not only the arid desert, but farm fields, homes, schools, factories, and businesses across the region. The wind carried contamination throughout parts of Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. People living in the affected areas were known as downwinders. From 1945 to 1962, the United States government conducted hundreds of nuclear tests which exposed citizens to radiation. Employees in the uranium mining industry were also exposed to toxic levels of radiation. In 1990, Congress passed the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act as an apology to individuals who developed certain cancers and other serious diseases related to nuclear weapons testing and uranium mining. Victims or their surviving family members are awarded amounts from $50,000 to $100,000. Free cancer screenings are available to qualified individuals.